It's Daniel Craig's second outing as Bond, and he goes up against an eco-terrorist.
For me, it was Tuesday.
Welcome everyone to another episode of For Me, It Was Tuesday. I am your host, GQ. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button.
You don't have to worry about me.
Like the video, like this video, the other videos I've done. Hit the notification bell to make sure you get notified every single time I put up one of these videos, every Tuesday, just to let you know. And also check out culturejunkies.net. Check out our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're also on Twitch and Discord, so we are pretty much everywhere. So today, we're going to be talking about the 2008 James Bond film, Daniel Craig's second outing, Quantum of Solace. Directed by Mark Forrester, starring, of course, Daniel Craig, Olga Kurylenko, Matteo Alomar, Dame Judi Dench, Jeffrey Wright, and Gemma Arterton. So this film, I'm sorry, this one is kind of honestly one of my least favorite Bond films. I'm just going to be straight up right off the top. So this probably ain't really going to take all that long. The film itself is okay. It has a couple of firsts under its belt. It is the first Bond film to ever have a duet for the title sequence song, and it is the first Bond film to ever be a direct sequel to the events of the previous film. It literally starts off right from the moment Bond captures Mr. White and basically is taking him back to MI6, or one of their local bases in the country that he caught him at. And it starts off with a very cool high-speed chase, a lot of editing, a lot of quick cuts, and I actually did enjoy it. I had zero problems with it being that high-paced, high-intensity. And we find out that Mr. White is in the trunk. So it's like, wow, it literally does pick off right where Casino Royale left off. And I had no problem with that. I also like the interrogation sequence where they bring Mr. White in and they're trying to figure out, okay, who do you work for? What's the organization all about? And I love that moment where he literally says, we've been looking over our shoulders all this time, wondering what MI6 knows, and you guys don't even know anything about us. And it's like, first thing you need to know about us is we have people everywhere. And he looks over to one of the agents in the room who actually happens to be M's bodyguard and says, "Am I right, my friend?" And he immediately pulls a gun, shoots M, shoots Bond. And it's like, wow, this is literally a Star Wars, Execute Order 66 moment where it's like these guys have people embedded who have just been under deep cover for years. So I love that part of the film and just, the spy versus spy type of aspect to it. And then you get into the film, obviously there's some action sequences that ensue. Daniel Craig, to me, is one of the most physical Bond actors that we've ever had. And he chases down the agent that, the former MI6 agent who, of course, shot at him and shot M. And the sequence it's all right, it's cool. It's the standard, high stakes, high intensity. And of course, Bond, ever the trigger man, kills the man. But again, I look at it as, okay, you killed him, didn't get a chance to question him. But the dude was trying to kill you, so I understand where he's coming from. M, of course, sees it a different way, wanted to kind of sweat him and, figure out like, okay, well, what the hell? How long have you been working with this shadow agency as you've been my bodyguard for the past 3 years or whatever? So I can understand both sides of that particular exchange. So you move forward a little bit, and then we get introduced to the most lackluster Bond villain ever. Ever. It's not his fault, I guess, but Matteo Alomar as Dominic Green is the worst Bond villain I think I've ever come across. And I think what it is just bad casting, and it's no disrespect to the actor. I mean, the actor, look, I wouldn't turn on a Bond villain role if it was if it was offered to me. So I understand where he's coming from in that aspect. I think even he was mentioned or quoted as saying, I don't want to be the guy that has to tell his kids that I, passed on a Bond film. So I get it. But at the same time, looking at Dominic Green, he's supposed to be like an eco-terrorist, but he's a businessman that pulls a front as a guy that's all for reforestation and the environment and all that sort of thing. His organization's actually called Green Planet. And it's like, I get where you guys are coming from. It's very, Star Wars related. Senator Palpatine has the public face, and then of course the underhanded dirty stuff that he does. But then you get to the situation where it's like, this guy's not imposing. He's not scary. He's not anything that would make me like look across the room and be like, okay, that's somebody I need to stay away from. The actor himself is, I believe, 5'6". Olga Kurylenko, who plays kind of his on-again, off-again love interest, is 5'9". So even out of heels, it doesn't work. She's taller than this guy. She can literally look down on him in the scenes that they're in together. They didn't give this man any apple boxes on set, and it's just like, this guy's not scary. You look at him, he looks like he's the valet that, either the valet that parks your car, or he's the coat check guy that, that takes your coat when you go to a party. He's not intimidating. You look back at the other Bond villains, you've had characters like Goldfinger, Oddjob, you've had Jodan Baker playing Brad Whitaker. Incidentally, Jodan Baker also played Jack Wade, so he played both a villain and an ally to Bond. But it's like you had like Dave Bautista as Mr. Hanks in Spectre, who, when you get introduced to him, he's gouging out a guy's eyes and killing him and taking his seat at the table. So you've had a history of Bond villains that have all been either physically imposing or psychologically and mentally, or just have that look of like, okay, don't mess with that guy. Dominic Green doesn't fit that, and it kind of sucks. So you move forward into the film, and it's just like, I don't feel any intimidation from him. And he could have at least had an intimidating henchman, but his henchman is a dude named Elvis, who literally has a bowl cut, and his bowl cut, you find out later on in the film, is actually a toupee. So it's like nothing but just weak sauce villains in this film, and I did not like that aspect of it. And I think that's what took me out of it. It's like, because every single Bond villain, even starting with Dr. No, who didn't really do much, but at least he had the metal hands and he could crush like a statue in his hands and all this various stuff. So Green was just weak. Like, there's even a sequence where he's supposed to be making like a side deal with the CIA, and Jeffrey Wright, who of course plays Felix Leiter, just has this look at him like, dude, I could like throat punch you and just kill you right now. Like, why am I even bothering? He has that look on his face, and it's kind of it's unfortunate. The other little highlights in the film, you have Gemma Arterton playing a character who introduces herself as Fields, just Fields. Funny to find out that the character's full name is actually Strawberry Fields, which is in and of itself crazy. So they thankfully avoided the innuendo that you would have got from Bond if she had introduced herself with her full name. And she, of course, does get killed in the film, and it's a throwback to Goldfinger, where Goldfinger, of course, coated her in gold, and they take that same approach with Fields, but they coat her in what's supposed to be oil, because the whole plot of the film is Green is supposed to be buying this patch of land that everybody thought was, had oil and was trying to drill for oil and this and that, and you come to find out it's not oil that he's actually after the water supply. And he's working with the particular general who wants to, overthrow the current government. He kind of tricks him into saying, okay, hey, sell me this land and I'll help you get your government, or your coup, basically. And they follow through with that, and then he comes back and is like, okay, cool, you signed the land over to me, and you've got your government. Oh yeah, but by the way, here's this other contract, and he slides him another piece of paper. And it's like, okay, well now, thanks for signing this off. Now you've just signed over exclusive rights for us to supply your water, and we're going to raise the rates way beyond what they've been. And the funny thing is, and this is the only time Green seemed to be slightly intimidating, is he literally tells the guy, it's like, okay, well, hey, if you don't want to sign it, if you don't want to, do business with us, my organization, which his organization, the Shadow Organization, is actually called Quantum, and Quantum is actually a subsidiary of Spectre. Of course, you find that out couple of films later and down the line. But he literally says, my organization is like, okay, hey, whatever, we're not going to really take sides, but you might wake up one day, find your balls cut off and stuffed in your mouth with your willing replacement standing over you. And and the funny thing is, the general kind of gives him that look, and his lieutenant, who's behind him, literally standing behind him looking down on him, was just about to draw his gun and shoot him in the back of the head. So that I thought was kind of a cool moment. But other than that, Green had nothing that was really substantial or anything cool. Olga Kurylenko, exceptionally beautiful woman. She played a very interesting character. She wasn't the standard fall into James Bond's arms character. She found him attractive because, again, he's supposed to be an attractive character, but she had her own mission, her own thing that she was doing, so she didn't get it, basically turned into the love interest. And it literally is a moment at the end of the film, Bond kisses her, and it's just kind of like there's nothing there for either of them. So I thought that was actually pretty interesting. Another thing I did like is just how casual Daniel Craig's Bond is about taking people out. Kills the first agent, that turned on them. Then he gets to a point where he's supposed to go to a hotel and take a guy's place, or basically, originally he's supposed to go and question him, but he goes in and he realizes the guy kind of looks like him, so they have their fight, and he just kind of stabs him. He's just casually sitting there waiting for the guy to die. It's like, would you hurry up and die so I can go ahead and take your place and keep the story moving. So I do enjoy that about Daniel Craig. He's very just straightforward about, hey, I have a license to kill, so I am going to kill people. But outside of that, Quantum of Solace is kind of a weak entry into the pantheon of the Bond franchise. And I'm going to leave you guys with these final words. For many of you out there, when you first heard that there was going to be an actual direct sequel for a Bond film for the first time ever, you might have got excited. You might have been like, you know what, Daniel Craig did a really good job in Casino Royale. I'm going to see what else he's going to do. What else has he got? And then you saw the trailers, and it saw Bond being Bond, doing his thing. Then you got to the theater, and you saw that the villain was a dude that's 5'6", who the first time you saw him, he's playing with receipt paper and a stamp, and his so-called girlfriend is 3 inches taller than him without heels. And you kind of might have got turned off by that, because I definitely did. But you kind of gave it a chance, and then the film moved on, and unfortunately just got worse from there. So for all y'all, that was highly disappointing. But hey, for me,
It was Tuesday.
I'll see you guys next time. If you're enjoying our content, please consider going to our Patreon and becoming a supporter. There are different tiers to select from, and we thank you for your support.
Culture